Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Mahima Vacharjani. We're back after a week-long holiday and we're happy to be back.
Yes.
The market's looking good as well at the start. Of course, it's cooled off just a tad bit. Let's take a look at the screen and see how it's faring right now. You have gains of about 0.4% for the Nifty 50, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look at that. Okay, yeah, so thereabouts. Cooled off just a tad bit from the high point of the day. We were well above 22,500. And a few technical analysts on the on the morning show, have told you, hold your horses, don't decide to go long based on the kind of up move that you're seeing today, because you could see selling and you could see range bound trade. Resistance levels have played out. We've broadly seen the Nifty 50 trade within that 22,200 to 22,700 range, and we were bang in the middle of that range at the end of trade on Thursday. And despite the up move that you saw in the US markets on Friday, you are seeing just a tepid start. You can call it that, because you're seeing gains of about 0.4%. Of course, the broader markets have also cooled off just a tad bit. You have the mid-cap index is gaining about 0.5% or so, and the small-cap index that is up about that same amount, about 0.5% or so. I wouldn't be surprised if the market breadth is tilted in favor of the advances at this point, and it is. But that gap has narrowed. If we can pull up the lines, that will indicate to you that the market breadth has actually shifted just a tad bit and narrowed over the course of the session so far, because earlier on in the session it was very clear that the advances held the roost. Let's talk about the sectors then, and you have IT that is underperforming in a big way today, down about 0.5%, and a few stocks from the broader IT names are losing ground. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, over the course of the day. By the way, if you've got questions for us, that number on the top of your screen is where you send messages to us. You can call us on this number right here if you've got questions on IT or anything else as well. What are the other sectors that are standing out? Pharma is doing incredibly well. There were a few names, a few companies that had US FDA approvals, yes, of course, but also reviews of their facilities that have come through unscathed, if you can call it that, and they are reacting positively in that way. They're up about 1.6% as a pack. Finance is up and about, and metal is up about 0.7%.
Right, absolutely. Some, stocks to keep an eye on. Ola Electric is one of them. There's a significant update coming in where Rosemeta Digital Services has sought an initiation of insolvency proceedings against Ola Electric subsidiary. IndiSyn is one of the counters that is buzzing. Multiple updates post close on Thursday. These include that it is now under the short-term ASM. HDFC mutual funds are seen buying in IndiSyn. RBI has released statement on IndiSyn, and a couple of other updates. But the stock is up 3% as we speak after the entire downfall trajectory that it has seen in the last 1 week. In terms of some order wins, GR Infra Projects is one of the counters which is buzzing. KC International is also buzzing on the back of that. But some counters which are not doing well. MTNL is one of them. There are counters like Wipro Limited, which is not doing well. Brigade Enterprises is down by about 1%. So all of these counters are moving on the back of news from Friday till Sunday, and of course the updates that came in today as well. So long list of stocks that are buzzing.
The reason I'm smiling is because your voice is reacting to the cold climate that you were celebrating and enjoying last week. But you're back in Mumbai, where it's hot and humid, summer setting in. I wonder if some of the... interesting
thing, I've come from -5 degrees to a 40 degree right now, which is why my voice is probably reacting to that.
Well, let's get our experts on board. We've got Saurabh Jain, who is equity head research at SMC Global Securities. Brijesh Ail, who's head of technical and derivatives retail research at IDBI Cap. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining in, and I look forward to this session that we have with you. In fact, let's talk about one of the stocks that is buzzing in trade today. And on the downside, Ola Electric, because of that update that came through for its subsidiary, there is insolvency proceedings that have been initiated. The company has come in strongly to say that it is rebutting these allegations. The stock is down about 7%, 6.5% right now. We got Rahul from Kolkata, who has bought at levels of 98, and he's got a long time frame. He's got a considerable number of shares. I'm just wondering on the fundamentals what you think, Saurabh, because he's got 5,500 shares. Should he exit at this point?
Hi, good morning, Alex. See, all the things are going bad, both on the operational front and as well as corporate governance front. I mean, the investors are, selling these shares because of the poor performance by the company, either in terms of way of allegations or profitability or sales push. So, in my sense, he has chosen a wrong company. I think it would not be better for him to stick with the Ola Electric. I would advise rather to exit from this job.
All right, so exit is a call, but let's find out what the latest update is. And this is should be of interest to you, Rahul, because it should reinforce what is being said on the fundamental side. Puneet is joining in to tell you what exactly has happened. Puneet, effectively, this is a very small subsidiary, right? You're talking about a 26 crore impact, and the erosion in market cap is significantly more than that.
Well, definitely, and the stock is also down 70% now from its highs. It's down 38% from its issue price of 76. So the bad news just keeps following the company specifically. And as you rightly said, Rosemata Digital has initiated insolvency proceedings against the company. Now, as per some reports, there was about a 17 to 18 crore in payment that Ola Electric had to do to Rosemata. And essentially what Rosemata does is, register the vehicle that has been sold by Ola Electric. Now, they had an agreement before that. Now that seems to be a process that Ola Electric has moved in-house to save cost effectively, but that has led to this notice coming in. Now the exchanges has been notified about this particular notice by Ola Electric or by Rosemata itself, but there are some reports speculating that the other entity as well, which is the second entity which used to register, Srimata Digital, that's also filed insolvency proceedings as well. But currently the company is only notified about Rosemata International, so that is the key thing. Apart from that, if you look at the timeline that's flashing on your screen, on 19 February, they mentioned that the sales will be affected in the month of February, basically saying that this agreement with Rosemata has now been evoked and they won't be registering the vehicles. So effectively the company was selling the vehicles to its customer but not registering it, and because they weren't registering it, it wasn't available in Vahan to see. So they mentioned on 28th Feb that they've sold 25,000 vehicles, but Vahan data only suggested roughly about 8,300 vehicles that they had sold. Apart from that, on 4th March, they mentioned that they received a letter from IFSCI for investment in the battery venture specifically, not enough to meet the PLI incentives. So they've mentioned that they will be looking at that in April as well. And on 15 March, of course, we mentioned that Rosemata had filed the insolvency proceeding. So it's been following them, but they also mentioned on the positive side that there will be EBITDA break-even in Q1 of FY26, which is in a couple of quarters. So I think while the bad news has been following and the share price has been corrected because of that, I think it'll be important to see the EV bike launch as well as the commentary on the EBITDA break-even in Q1 of FY26.
Right, and as he's rightly tagged it, Alex. He's tagged it as bad news. Keep finding Ola Electric, and the stock is down by about 6.7% as we speak. Moving on to the next counter that we're talking about is KC International. Ravi Kumar from Hyderabad is holding 20 shares, bought at 1127 a piece in the last 3 months. He wants to know whether he should keep holding at the current levels or add more, probably he's saying that he should add some more shares at a lower price or book a loss is what he wants to know. Brijesh, I'll come to you. KC International has won a significant order today in post-market hours on Thursday. What's the view like with respect to charts, however? Where are you finding the supports and resistance levels?
Hi, morning. So eventually the stock has already taken support, and since it has fallen so much, there has been a formation of RSI positive divergence. This is one of the technical indicators which suggests a bounce from the current level. So sooner or later, I think maybe close to 900 level, we should be seeing a bounce in this particular stock. So it looks quite little bit positive from the trading perspective. If this guy can average few of his stocks and then wait for this opportunity for the 900, so that can be seen in the charts. So for the level of 900, I am positive.
All right, the next question is on Bajaj Housing Finance, and it's coming in from Kolkata. We've got B. Gain who's writing in, and he's got 2,000 shares that he's bought at a price of 121. Got my numbers mixed up, but the question is essentially sort of on the fundamentals. would you hold on? Because ultimately you're talking about a rate cut that has just come through that will translate, I would think, into loan growth. That is the expectation heading into the first quarter of the new financial year. What would you say about this company though?
In the housing finance segment, Bajaj Housing Finance is a decent company. The company has always grown higher the rate of the industry average, but the problem lies with the higher valuation. That is why I think the stock has corrected largely. I think at these prices, doesn't make sense to get out of it. I think better you should wait for hold your investment for next 2-3 years. That is the call.
Right, so that's the view with respect to Bajaj Housing Finance. We have our first caller for the day lined up. Pawan Kishore is calling in. Pawan, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Yeah, good morning. So I'm holding Bank of Baroda, 400 shares at 197.
Okay.
My horizon is around 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
The PB is attractive. It is around 1.75 or something.
Okay.
And asset quality is improving.
Right.
And PE is also low. It is offering attractive dividend of 3% approx.
Right.
So
Right.
I need advice regarding that.
All right, got it. Pawan, I must say you've done your research very well. I'll come to you, Saurabh. What's the view with respect to Bank of Baroda?
I think many of the matrices he was right. It is available at you can say it is a kind of a value stock. The price to book value is really low, and if you look at the balance sheet is quite strong in terms of delinquency rate and all. The bank maintains good capital adequacy ratio and is expected to grow higher than the industry average. The next 2-3 years looks good for the banking industry per se, and Bank of Baroda is a strong candidate. So my take is a hold.
And by the way, I think what he was referring to is the 1 year forward price to book, because for Bank of Baroda as well as several other public sector banks, are trailing 1 year price to book is actually sub 1, which is something that has been the case for a while. Vishwas is calling us from Bengaluru. Hi Vishwas, how can we help you today? Good morning.
Hi sir, good morning sir.
Please go ahead. Good morning.
Sir, Kalyan Jewelers 200 stock, average price of 500.
Okay.
Older sell sir, are short term sir, 6 months sir.
Okay, 6 months, all right. And when did you buy this, Vishwas?
Sir, 500 stock, average price of 500, quantity 200.
Got it. Okay, I understood. All right. So Brijesh, then on the charts, this is a company that is, or stock that has seen wild gyrations over the course of the last few months. It's had a rocky 2025. Would you hold on though?
Yeah, I think the damage is already done. So maybe it's wise to hold on to this stock, because I think probably the stock can see some bounce back can be seen. So from the level of this 432, so most probably it may find some support at this level. So hold should be the view, and most probably to some extent averaging can also be done. Sooner or later, I think this may bounce back to 550, somewhere close to 550. So that remains a short-term view. So close to 550, this guy can again review the position, but bounce back is possible on the charts.
All right, so that's the view with respect to Kalyan Jewelers. The next counter that we're talking about is Power Mech. Satyan is asking whether is this a good option to bet on for the next couple of years. Saurabh, I'll quickly come to you. Power Mech, what's the view like, and if you have the coverage?
Won't be able to comment.
All right, Power Mech, then on the charts, Brijesh, how is it faring?
So eventually this stock was also breaking down, and now it has bounced back to the supports. Maybe 2150 is just immediate resistance. Once it sustains about 2150, then I think there will be a further upside. But right now, at this point, he needs to be cautious near 2150 level.
Hindalco is what we're talking about next, and the entire metal pack, by the way, has been buzzing. I wonder if that continues to be the case. It's gaining about 0.5%, but let's pull up the constituents of the metal index and see whether the gains from this morning are being held on to, and that seems to be the case, though there are a few that have fallen off the bandwagon, so to speak. We've got Darshan Mandviwala, who's writing in from Surat, Gujarat, and he says that he wants to invest in Hindalco and go long on this one. Is this the time to invest for the long term? Sort of view on metals and specifically Hindalco, would you bet on this for the long term?
I think metals are looking quite good. In fact, in the recent corrections, also the metals are standing strong. The what is happening globally is expected to is actually helping the metal prices to go up. With the considering the Hindalco, they have also a facility in the US where the prices are moving up. So in that sense, I think. There is expected to be a decent demand this going next fiscal year, and the profitability is also expected to grow. So, in my view, I think he can hold.
Hold is the view coming in on Hindalco. Dheeraj is our next caller. Dheeraj is calling in from Hyderabad. A very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning, ma'am. My query is regarding Senco Gold.
Okay.
I'm holding 1100 shares of Senco Gold at 368 rupees.
Okay.
So my query is, can we add more at current levels, or should I wait or exit?
Okay, so Dheeraj, when you bought Senco Gold, was it the fundamentals that you saw, or did you see the charts while buying it?
Actually, I have seen the fundamentals and bought the stock.
Okay.
Like a month ago.
Understood. Okay, like a month ago. All right, Dheeraj, got your query. Saurabh, I'll come to you again. Senco Gold is the counter. Q3 was not very impressive. You know, EBITDA was down by about 56 odd %, if I'm not wrong. And lower studded mix is something that has kind of impacted the margins as well. It was lower than what they've guided. But what's the view like for Senco Gold? Because he's sitting on a loss of over ₹1 lakh. Should he continue to hold or book losses?
I think prices have corrected because of the various reasons. Few you have also mentioned, and one thing more, that what market is expecting, that these companies would really find difficult to grow their sales like the way they have done in the past. I mean, in the past 1-2 years, because the gold prices are really hovering at a at multi-year highs, and these prices, people are not walking in the stores and buying jewelry at a pace the sales used to be. So in that sense, I think the valuations have corrected, but because the growth is also tapering off, I think there is more room for correction. I think it is better to get out in case you find any kind of a rally.
All right, so get out when you have the opportunity to do so. The next question is also for you, Saurabh, and this is a question from Bhargav, who is writing in from Kuwait, but he's specifically asking about PG InvIT, which is Power Grid InvIT. Now, generally when people invest in InvITs and in REITs, they're not looking for dramatic capital appreciation, or at least they should not. They're looking for regular distribution of income. But what should the strategy be if you want to take exposure to the infrastructure space? Should you be in PG InvIT, or are there better opportunities that will give you both capital appreciation as well as dividend income?
I think PJ InvIT is a good choice in which he has invested. I think he'll get both the income from investment, I mean, in terms of dividend, and the price will also move up with time. So I think he has already done a good choice. He can keep it. My take is a hold.
All right, so hold is the view on PG InvIT coming in from Saurabh. We have our next caller lined up. Hemant from Andhra Pradesh is calling in. Hemant, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Hi, good morning. I want to know about a stock name called Chambal Fertilizer.
Okay.
I'm currently holding 10 shares about at price rate of 477.
Okay.
I would like to add more shares.
Okay.
And want to know about fundamental views for long term, at least 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. All right. Hemant, I'll take your query up with Saurabh. Saurabh, what's the view like for Chambal Fertilizers? Well, in terms of its Q3 performance, revenue did see an uptick of 16%. Overall, PAT also saw a growth of 25%. So good set of numbers in Q3. But what's the view like for the next 2 to 3 years?
I think for the next 2-3 years he can hold the quantity what he has bought, and he can add more when he finds any kind of a correction in the stock price. I think the stock is already making 52-week highs. In terms of it's a kind of a cyclical business, and monsoons are yet to come for the 2025. There are expectations of good monsoon this year too, which can help the company's profitability to grow. So in my opinion, he can add more at declines and can stick with his investment.
Can we pull up Ola Electric again, please? If let's look at where the share price is, because the stock is under pressure, trading at 47. I know that we've already talked about this on the fundamentals, and it is a sell according to Saurabh. But I want to ask on the technicals as well, Brijesh, because we've got Deepak Daga, and I'm taking this because he's got huge quantity, 45,000. I asked him again whether this was actually the case or he's mistyped it. 45,000 shares at an average price of 56. Would you suggest an exit at this point and to limit his losses, or do you think that he should hold?
So specifically, if this buying price is 56, and if I look from the very short-term perspective, maybe from a trading perspective, okay, then there is an opportunity. Maybe this guy needs to hold, because 56.60 can be a reasonable bounce back, because the stock has fallen so much. And from a technical perspective, these prices are far away from the averages. So whenever this kind of scenarios are there, the prices tend to move back. So maybe some bounce back can be expected from 47 to 56 is is most probably possible. So for that opportunity, I think if we can just hold on to the quantity, it's advisable.
And then what are the key levels that you would watch then, Brijesh? Because ultimately, this is a falling knife kind of scenario. And so where would you draw the line on the downside, and at what level would you consider selling?
The downside, it is making a lower low. So for me, downside would be like it will be very difficult. It's in a deep oversold zone. What I can say on the higher side, the value of the 50-day moving average, which is at 65. So that will on whenever there is a bounce, this 50-day moving average at 65 will act as a resistance zone. So that is the area when he needs to be extremely cautious. By any chance he is lucky and he sees some little bit of upside, 65 would be the level of hurdle.
Okay, 65 would be the level of hurdle. Hope that answers your question on the technicals. Remember, on the fundamentals, the call from Saurabh is a sell, but this is essentially a trading call that is being provided by Brijesh. And considering that you have such a large quantity, Deepak, hopefully that resolves your situation. We've got a caller. Kalyani is calling us from Hyderabad. Hi Kalyani, how can we help you today?
Sir, I have brought IdeaForge.
Yes, okay.
IdeaForge at a rate of 541, 100 shares.
Okay.
And I thought I'll keep it for long term. But since the share is going down on a regular basis, should I sell it? At the loss, I think I'm at a loss of 21,000 nearly.
Okay. And when you bought it, Kalyani, can you help me understand why you chose this company? Because it's a relatively small company. It is engaged in the manufacturing of unmanned aircraft systems, as I can see.
Yes, sir. That's the reason.
Yes.
Unmanned aircraft systems. And the latest equipment they are developing. I thought it will do good. And since it's a small company, startups and all, they do well.
Yeah. Right.
So I thought for 1 year, 2 years, it will be good.
Okay.
But suddenly the market, everything is coming down. So I'm at a crossroad. What should I do with this?
I understand that. And so let me take your question across to Saurabh on the fundamentals. Saurabh, if you've seen this company, IdeaForge is a company that has been spoken about intermittently, but it's a relatively small company. Do you have coverage, and what would the advice be here?
Hey, Alex, you said rightly, it is a very small company. The IPO came in the bull market where, lot of frenzy was there. So people have the expectation, investors have the expectation that the company would do good. But this time around, when we are seeing a lot of selling, especially in the small cap baskets, all these stocks have been beaten down because of the high valuation. This stock also got hammered down. And above all, on the operational front, if you find there is hardly any kind of a revenue. I mean, the company earns about 20 crore odd in the revenue, and there is a negative bottom line to the tune of about 25 crore. So the company there is a really miss on the expectation front and on the valuation front also. That is why we are seeing consistent selling. My idea is better to get out, because till the company comes out with the really good set of numbers and the management guides for that, till then I think I don't see any turnaround for the stock price to happen. My sense, it is better to exit.
Okay, quick follow-up then. If you're booking a 20,000 loss in this company, where would you deploy it right now? There are opportunities in the larger end of the spectrum, right?
See, there are opportunities in the larger end of the spectrum. If you find, in my opinion, I think the industrials holds the key, the banking holds the key. If you look at the pharma, FMCG, I think these are the four sectors where you can hide yourself. In terms of FMCG, I think the old economic stocks like Dabur, maybe in the capital goods segments, we have just spoken about KEC International or maybe L&T in the pharma space. I think DVs holds the key. In the banking space, we have just talked about the Bank of Baroda or maybe ICICI Bank or Axis Bank. I think big names in these sector. I think one should go about it.
Right. Kalyani, hopefully that helps you out and hopefully that answers your question as well. Brijesh, I understand you have to leave us. Thanks so much for joining us today and a pleasure speaking with you as always. Saurabh, we'll see you on the other side of this very short break. Viewers, do stay tuned. We'll take more of your questions and be back before you know it.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
We're also joined by Ajit Mishra, SVP Research at Religare Broking, who is joining us now with his technical expertise. I'll start with the first query in the second half of this Ask Profit session. This query is from Siam, who's from Andhra Pradesh. His query is on BEML. He's holding 21 shares at 3,500 rupees, and he wants to know whether he should hold or exit for the next 6 months. Ajit, I'll take this question up with you. First of all, a very good morning to you. And what's the view like for BEML on the charts?
Right, good morning. See, post this correction from its record high move, and in this quarter the stock has lost roughly around 32%, and now we are trading closer to the major support zones on weekly and monthly charts. So probably we can spend some time, more of a time-wise correction in the near future. So if the view is very short-term, he should consider 2630 as a key pivot area. Once we cross this mark, probably then we can see a decisive recovery towards 3000 plus levels. So as of now, he can stay put to 2400 as a stop loss.
Okay, 2400 is a level that you should watch on the downside. We've got a question in the jewelry space, and Naveen is calling us from Andhra Pradesh. Hi Naveen, how can we help you today? Sky Gold is a question that you have, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was holding Sky Gold 10 shares for 330 rupees, and also Kalyan for 10 shares around 24 average. I need to think which I need to migrate in a gold sector, either Kalyan or Sky Gold, which is better.
Which should you hold on to? And you know what, I'm going to add one more to this. What is the time frame that you have? How long would you like to hold this for?
Yeah, this holding things from 4 minutes.
Okay, but I'm saying, how long do you intend to hold it? Is it long term or short term?
Yeah. I mean, like I need to hold it for long term only. I mean, like around 3 years.
3 years. Okay. So on the fundamentals, let's go across to Saurabh and ask between Sky Gold and Kalyan. So he's invested in both. Would you hold on to them?
I think in terms of growth, the sector is not likely to experience the growth the sector has witnessed in the last 1-2 years. The way the growth was witnessed and the margins were there, I think both are tapering off. The valuations are still high. If you look at the Sky Gold, it is trading at 20 times to book value, which is at a scorching high, levels. In my opinion, I think there is a good room for correction. In my opinion, he must be making a lot of profits. I think he should decide to partially exit or maybe fully exit from the jewelry stocks.
So he is not making substantial profits. He's more or less where the current price is. 330 is the buy price. So, but Naveen, considering that on the fundamentals, Saurabh feels that there is a prospect for a decline, maybe you should listen to what he has to say. Ajit, I'm coming to you, and I'm going to add one more stock in this jewelry pack. And Mahima was just mentioning, and I think it's important to mention that these companies are not necessarily comparable on the fundamentals, because Sky Gold, as you know, is a manufacturer of jewelry and it sells to other companies, not individuals or not retail, right? So, but I'm going to add Shivani's question to this. PN Gadgil is the stock that she's holding. 568 is her buy price. She's got 55 shares and she's looking at the next 6 months. So Ajit, we're talking about the entire pack and there are several to talk about. Titan, if I remember correctly, is also at less than 5% or maybe about 2% away from its 52-week lows. So which according to you is the best prospect in the space?
Right. So, Alex, the entire space was buzzing a couple of months ago, and we've seen a very strong, outperformance by Kalyan. But recently, post this correction move, also we are seeing that the stock is hovering in a very tight range. Sky Gold, on the other hand, is definitely showing comparatively better strength. Means the stock is still holding above its long-term averages, which is a good sign. Means even if when the markets are witnessing decisive correction and mid cap and small cap, they are witnessing excessive pressure. So Sky Gold, I believe that among all these names has better prospects, provided that it manages to hold this 300 area. In case if further correction continues in the market. So as of now, definitely he can continue to hold Sky Gold or maybe add more at current levels. Once we cross this 380, 390 area, probably the stock can retest its record high zone again. So yes, Sky Gold can be a candidate to hold on for.
Right, so interesting takeaways here, because fundamentally Saurabh said that exit the counter,
and it's poised for a correction.
It's poised for a correction, and but the technical view suggests that it's a good buy at present. But yeah, so considering the time frame that you have, Shivani, you will have to take the call whether you want to make an investment or stay invested in Sky Gold or not. Moving on to the next caller, Atul from Mumbai is calling in. Atul, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm holding the stock of Bank of Maharashtra at a price point of 68.41.
Okay.
My question is, should I book profit or should I hold on to them?
All right. So Atul, did you see
I can hold until 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, you can hold until 1 year. Okay, I'll take your question with Ajit again. Ajit, what's the view like with respect to charts of Bank of Maharashtra?
So PSUs, almost all these stocks are witnessing a similar kind of correction move. From last 3 months, they are gradually drifting lower. Maharashtra Bank, we have all seen almost after retesting its multi-year highs, the stock is gradually drifting, and now closer to this 40-45 zone is something we believe the stock might take a breather before making any meaningful recovery. So as of now, it's a hold. Basically, 40 is something that he should maintain as a stop loss. In case of recovery, 50-52 will be the first area of resistance, and once we cross that barrier, then probably we are set for the next leg of the up.
Okay. All right, so that's a call on a Bank of Maharashtra, down about 0.9% in trade today, and the entire PSU banking pack, which was looking resilient at the end of last week, perhaps taking a bit of a knock today. Let's talk about Reshma's query, and this is on Tata Consumer, and she's bought at slightly elevated levels. She's lost about 16% value. She says she can hold for the next 2 to 3 years, and she's looking for a fundamental view on the stock. The stock is under a tad bit of pressure today as well, down about 0.5%. Now, the entire pack has been under pressure, Saurabh, and this is an earnings-related situation that these companies are facing up to. So, from the perspective of 2 to 3 years, it's a long enough time horizon. Would you hold on?
I think this is a very good company to get into the bag. It's a kind of a portfolio stock, considering the fact that there was a relaxation in the income tax benefit, and all these benefits is expected to flow in terms of more spending in terms of clothing and on the FMCG side. I think these companies are likely to benefit. The company has a very good portfolio, and the company is adding newer products to its basket also. So in my opinion, I think for the next 2-3 years, it should be a good hold.
It would be a good hold is the view on Tata Consumer on the fundamentals. Sanjay is calling us from Mysuru. Hi Sanjay, good morning. How can we help you today?
Hi sir, Motilal Oswal shares.
Okay.
300 stock, average price 675. Hold or sell 6 month target, sir.
Okay, got it. All right. So it's a pretty clear question. The stock is currently trading at 583 and below his buy price, even though he has bought on the way down, if I'm not mistaken. Ajit, on the technicals, bottom has been hit. What is the potential from the perspective of the upside?
Right, Alex. So, Alex, after this correction, almost 50% from its record high, the stock is now hovering in a tight range, almost 3-4 weeks. The good part is that it has a strong base around 560 area, which coincides with the weekly moving averages on the 100 EMA on the weekly charts. So once we cross this barrier of 600, probably then we can see a next leg of recovery towards 700, 750. So yes, the risk to reward is favorable. You can continue to stay put with 560 as a closing stop loss and 650 as a position target.
View with respect to Motilal Oswal and a hold is the view, technical view coming in from Ajit. The next counter that we're talking about is Greaves Cotton. Lavish from Indore is holding around 800 odd shares and he wants a 1-year view. His purchase price is around 280. Should he continue to hold or what's the view like? Saurabh, if you have a view on this particular counter, how are you reading it for the next 1 year?
I think going next year, there is expectation that the government capex and the private capex will be higher than the current fiscal. The company is into the, I feel it is in the engine, the company makes engine. And on the valuation front, I think it could be seen that it is trading at a multi-year low valuation. So the growth is expected to come next. Since the growth is expected to come next fiscal, I think it should be a hold.
All right, we've got a question, I'm not sure from whom because the name is not written. I would encourage you on WhatsApp to tell us your name if at all possible. This is a question on Vishal Megamart and Ajit has got this question, I believe, and he's gotten allotted shares during the IPO if I'm not mistaken, and he's wondering whether to hold or exit. Sort of on the fundamentals, since I'm guessing that there's not going to be enough in the way of technical data on this. As I understand it, the anchor book also opened up and so the stock is up, whereas certain other stocks are losing ground. Would you hold on to this?
I think from the long-term perspective, I think all the businesses in the retail segment is expected to benefit in terms of growth going forward next year. So from that perspective, I think it is a hold.
Hold is the view coming in on Vishal Megamart. The stock is up by about 1.8% as we speak. Moving on to the next counter, Nidhi from Ambala is asking a question on NMDC. She's holding 450 odd shares at 65 a piece and her time horizon is for the next 6 months. What's the right price to add more is something that she wants to know. Ajit, what do you think? Are these the current levels to enter in an average out or should she wait for some more time?
So Mahima, we are seeing that some of these metal counters, they have done pretty well in the recent weeks. Currently, we are seeing consolidation, but not all stocks are participating in a similar manner. So NMDC, after retesting its this swing highs related to its multiple moving averages, hurdle around 68 is something, again, we are seeing some profit taking emerging. So my view is that wait for a break above 70 to add fresh curves, adding in momentum is a better approach, especially in a market like this where we are not sure of whether we are heading for a reversal or is just a normal pause. So once we break 70, then probably 82 is something the stock might test. So around 65 as a stop loss. She can add the stock once we break the 70 barrier.
Okay, all right. So that's the view on NMDC. Let's take the next caller. Suman is calling us from Kolkata. Hi, Suman. How can we help you today?
Hi, Alex. Very good morning. Okay, so
good morning.
I need a review on NTI Mindtree. I have around 10 shares of 4,500. So I'm looking for a long-term view for 3 to 5 years.
Right. Okay. And there's a downtick on the stock today. As I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mahima, this had to do with Citi, which is winding down some of its IT partners or IT, so contractors. And so one of the major clients, Citi is one of LTI Mindtree's biggest clients, as a result of which you're seeing a downtick today, down about 3.8% or so. Suman has bought at levels of 4,500 on the basis of the fundamentals. Saurabh, this is a tough operating environment for IT companies, and the way that things are going, we were speaking with Moshe Katri earlier today, and he was saying that 2025 is likely to be a chop and churn sort of a situation, a flat situation for these IT companies. Would you hold on or exit?
Already, if you see 2025, 24, 25 was a kind of a flat to degrowth for some of the companies. If you look at LTI Mindtree, that in the last 2-3 quarterly earnings sequentially, there was a kind of a degrowth. And with the Trump making his march towards the tariffs and all, I think the discretionary spending is likely to be lower in the 2025 also, which will actually reduce their earning, or maybe there would be a no growth for these companies. Already, as you have said that one of their major clients have reduced their business. In terms of valuation also, it is not at the maybe at the lower level also. So in my opinion, I think in my sense, the stock can decline during the next 2-3 quarters. It is better to get out of it. That is what my call is.
Better to get out of LTI Mindtree. Seen a considerable decline from those higher levels. The next question is a clubbed question, and I'm going to make an exception because this is something of a strategy that I think people take up. I've heard these two companies mentioned in the same breath quite often. Saurabh, this one's for you. Bama Lorry or Bombay Burma? And GC Prakash, who's writing in from Chennai, is wondering whether to buy into both or one, and he's got a considerable amount of money that he wants to deploy before the 31st of March. Should he do so in one or both or neither?
My opinion, I think if one has to take a call out of the two, then I think Bama Lorry makes a sense. Otherwise, I would suggest better avoid both of the stock.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Balmer Lorry. The next caller that we have lined up for you is Naveen, who's calling in from Visakhapatnam. Naveen, a very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have 10 shares of Rainbow Children's Medicare.
Sorry?
I have 10 shares of Rainbow Children Medicare.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so it's a 1352 price.
Okay.
I want to understand the long-term perspective for that.
Okay, I got your question, Naveen. Saurabh, I'll quickly come to you. Rainbow Children's Medicare, what's the view like?
I think all the hospitals are making, I think on the operational front, they are making decent growth. And the expectation is that because they are adding more beds and they are adding capacity, and their mix is also allowing their profitability to grow. So in my opinion, Rainbow is a good choice, and he can hold for next 2-3 years.
Okay. All right. So that's a view on Rainbow Children Hospitals and specialty hospital there. All right. Let's talk about Niva's question. Niva writing in from Chennai and asking about Colgate. She's bought 4 shares at a price of 2,840 and asking what level can she look at averaging and what the outlook is on the stock. Ajit, I'll come to you on the technicals here. Not losing a large amount of money, but what is the potential upside? This is again from the pack that has lost value and favor.
That's true, Alex. So we are seeing that the attempts in recovery in fact in the broader FMCG pack, the first area for 20 EMA is something that most of the stocks are facing tremendous pressure. And Colgate also, we have seen a similar move. Means after this recovery, again, we are drifting towards the previous swing lows. So probably, this break may result in further decline towards 2200 area. So around that area, she can consider adding more because the major base is around 2150. So around that area, definitely the stock will be in a position of more of time-wise correction instead of further decline.
Okay. All right. So that's a view on Colgate. Let's get Suneet in. Suneet is calling us from Mumbai itself. Hi Suneet, how can we help you today?
Hi, I've got Hyundai IPO price 19604 each, and I've got one lot, so tremendous losses here. I'm just wondering what to do. Should I buy more to average it now or just stay where I am?
Okay, and when you subscribed to the IPO, did you buy for the long term, Suneet?
Yes, between 3 to 5 years, that was my initial thought, but I wasn't expecting a big downfall in the first 6 months.
Yeah, a lot of people were not. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's a fair question to ask. Saurabh, I think you've been asked this over the course of the last few months, and if I'm not mistaken, you've said have patience. What is the view now?
The automobile industry is not seeing the growth that earlier was envisaged for this fiscal. There is I think, lower single-digit kind of a growth that the company is experiencing. Some of the companies are doing good, like maybe Mahindra. But for that matter, if you look at the Hyundai Motor, I think the SUV segment is doing good. But also it is a lot of competition is coming up from the Kia and from the new launches. The smaller one cars are seriously not doing well. So you have to have patience, and it can't be, the judgment from here is that maybe next few months or maybe quarters will not be great for these automobile players. So in terms of stock price, I think it can drift lower also. I think better not to average and stick with your investment for long term.
Okay, stick with your investment is a call, but don't buy more at this juncture. Suneet, hopefully that answers your question. It is now time to hit the rapid fire segment, and gentlemen, you know what that means. We'll throw as many questions at you like grenades, and you'll have to field them and ensure that they don't explode. All right, the first question is Anantraj, and this is a question from John. He's looking for a long-term view. He's bought at levels of 658. Saurabh, what's your view?
Exit on rally.
All right, Kadir has a query on Madhusumi Wiring. He's bought 1,500 shares at an average price of 49. What's the view like, Ajit, on the charts?
Certainly hold, and in fact, one can add more.
Okay, Tata Technologies for the long term. Kiran wants to know, he's writing from Belgaum. Would you buy for the long term? Saurabh?
Avoid.
All right, Gul wants to make an entry in ICICI Bank. What's the price at which he can make the entry? Ajit, on the charts?
Can be bought at current levels because we are seeing outperformance within the sector. 1240 stop loss.
Okay, coming back to you, South Indian Bank is the name of the counter. Umesh wants to know, he's writing from Kanyakumari and he's bought at a level of 25. He's wondering whether he should hold or sell for the long term.
Hold.
All right, TCS is the next counter. Kunal from Indore has 21 odd shares at an average price of 4063. Should he hold, sell or buy more? Saurabh, what's the view?
Hold for long term.
Okay, Tata Motors, HSBC had a positive view on the stock. We've got Dinesh, who's bought at levels of 691. 3-month time horizon. Should you hold or sell and buy ITC? Ajit?
Hold Tata Motors, 625 stop loss, 725 target.
All right, Axis Bank is the next counter. The person is holding around at an average price of 1150. He's holding 600 shares. What should he do? What should be the next course of action, Saurabh, as per you?
Hold for next 3 years.
Okay, Engineers India Limited, 6-month view is being sought. Rajiv, who's writing in from Delhi, is asking, Ajit, what's the view?
Hold and close to around 180.85, exit complete.
All right, NTPC Green is the next counter. Girish Kumar from Kerala is holding 300 odd shares at an average price of 128. What's the view like, Saurabh?
Convert into NTPC.
Okay, convert to NTPC. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And I must say, you fielded all of those grenades with very good alacrity. Thank you so much for joining us today, and pleasure speaking with you as always. Right, that brings us to the end of this edition of Ask Profit. It's been an absolute pleasure. From the scratchy-throated Mahima and from Alex, thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breading also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market.
The private capital expenditure, from where I sit, I see that private capital expenditure is happening.
Any tariff coming on Indian goods will be passed on to American consumers and Indian companies will not be affected.
We feel fairly good about the fact that we can compete with various folks.
Actually, instead of Viksit Bharat, we should call it Re-Viksit Bharat.
Headlines you start your day with. What matters worldwide is now in the palm of your hands. Get ready to seize the day and maximize your financial potential. Stay ahead of the curve with all you need to know on NDTV Profit.
Very warm welcome to you all for this NDTV Profit Conclave, which is themed on Viksit Bharat.
A life which is both taking care of your material needs and taking care of your altruistic needs. That will be the true definition of Viksit Bharat.
In my view, we are already out of that slowdown.
For every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breading also. You have to come